Hey, everybody, welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today, Carolina football hosting FCS member North Carolina Central on Saturday at Kenan Stadium, 6 p.m. kickoff. ACC Network Extra. We did post something on our front page that gives you all the information you need. It was something sent out by UNC, so fans know how to access the game. The ones that aren't going to be there, and hopefully there will be a good crowd there because it always makes things more entertaining and interesting. Always love great atmospheres. All right, the topic is this game and 3 items of interest for this game. Typically, a lot of fans look at games against FCS teams and they're throwaway games. They don't really mean a whole lot. They don't gauge a whole lot from it. They can't get a ton from those games. And I think that there are times that that's true, especially when you play them later in the year. I can't stand the November game against an FCS team. I think it's a waste of time. I've said that many times before. I maintain that right now. If you're going to play those games, playing them early in the season is much, much better because there's still some intrigue about every team. There's still some things that we don't know about teams, and these games help us learn some of those things, either positive or negative. And for this particular Carolina team, there are 3 things that stand out to me that I think all eyeballs should be on all the time. And these are things that we will report on, we're going to focus on with our coverage on Saturday night at the game. The first one is very obvious, Connor Harrell. He will get his 3rd start at quarterback as a Tar Heel, 2nd straight, first time he's gone back-to-back weeks. So I talked to him the other day. A few of us talked to him. I asked about how different it was for him processing the game Saturday while immediately having to get into the next week's game. Because when he started in the bowl game, he had 8 months to process it, basically. Now it was different. So we're going to see. We're going to see what he learned from the film. We're going to see maybe some things that they removed from the Connor Harrell package, maybe some stuff that they've added to it. What other things do they run? What do they run a lot? What does the staff want him working on? Because this is a get better game. It's very likely the Tar Heels will win and win convincingly, but they must see progress from Connor Harrell. And I'm not going to look at progress just in terms of the numbers. It's about footwork. It's about going through his progression. It's about hitting the proper receiver. It's about not making dangerous throws. It's about the RPOs, when to tuck, when to let it go. It's about a lot of those things, which is how Chip Lindsey's going to grade him. The stats are going to be fine, but he's going to grade him on those things because he has 2 games to get ready for ACC play. So this cannot be a wasted opportunity. So fans need to watch Connor in that respect. Don't get too overhyped about numbers because numbers can camouflage in games like this, can camouflage maybe getting away with doing something not so fundamentally sound because of the competition. So look at him with a hard eye and enjoy whatever progress you see. And if there isn't a lot of progress, we will talk about it. We will write about it. And certainly Mac Brown will talk about it as well. And next week, Chip Lindsey and perhaps Connor himself. The next thing Carolina fans need to keep an eye on is the Kamen Rucker position, Rucker's replacements. Talked about this on a drop earlier this week, so I'm not going to go into the same depth that I did with that one. But this is a really important game for Tyler Thompson and Jabron Harvey. They're the 2 kind of splitting the time at the rush position while Kamen is out, and Kamen's not going to be out too long. He had a minor procedure. It's done and over with. He's recuperating, and he should be ready to go, and probably by the Duke game is my guess right now. But this is an opportunity for these 2 guys, to get badly needed experience. They played okay against Charlotte. They made some mistakes. The mistakes are the kinds of things coaches see that fans may not see. So this is an opportunity for them to make fewer of those mistakes in this game, because a lot of them have nothing to do with your competition, just about how you handle things in pre-snap, what you do once the ball's snapped. So this is a very, very valuable opportunity for those 2 to grow, to show improvement from last week and grow. It gives them needed reps to get more experience, and it gets them if they both play in the James Madison game and Kamen Rucker doesn't play, that's 3 straight games where they're sharing a ton of reps, and they're going to be much, much better having gone through that. To give Kamen a breather later on in the season at times so he doesn't wear down, and B, they're the two that are going to battle for that position next season because Kamen will be off to the NFL. So this is a very, very important position group to watch on Saturday. They're both different players. You don't really have to see the numbers to know whether it's 14 or 40 because 40 is taller, leaner, rangier. 14 is shorter, a little bit thicker, and plays lower. He kind of reminds me a little, at least physically, of what Rucker was like a few years ago. We were first getting to learn his game. The third thing is the secondary has to defend against the explosive plays. There were 8 of them in the Charlotte game. 80% of Charlotte's yards came to those 8 explosive plays. And by explosive plays, in this particular game, 8 pass plays that went for 23 or more yards. There were 3 in the 40s. There was another one at 34. And higher than 23 out of 25. There was a 28-yard touchdown on a 4th and 5. They had a 37-yard completion on a 4th and 5. Jeff Collins told us on Monday that it was all about leverage. He harped on leverage. He said 4 of them were leverage plays. If you cut those 4 out, one of them was the touchdown. You cut those 4 out, and you give up only 4, you know what? That's going to happen. You're going to give up big plays every once in a while. It's part of the game. You're playing against really talented guys. Sometimes they get the best of you. 8 of them is way too much. I don't think he'd even be very happy with 4, but at least 4 is something that you can look at and say, okay, we don't see this as a potentially big problem. 8, you look at and say this is a potentially big problem. So if they fix the leverage against a team like Central, they shouldn't give up more than a couple. Now, what is leverage? I asked Marcus Allen Tuesday about that, and basically, and you can go look up a lot of neat stuff because I did. There's a lot of wonderful tutorials about there about football terminology and what it actually means. A lot of people probably understand what the word leverage means, but in the football sense, it has to. A lot of those missed plays, the leverage plays, were at the beginning, right off the snap. The distance between them and the receiver, maybe how they handle the snap, the beginning of the route, something along those lines, and then it creates a leverage problem the rest of the way. So keep an eye on how the DBs handle that. Do they allow explosive plays? Do they allow a 3rd and 9 scramble for 18 yards? Do they allow these 4th down conversions? Charlotte completed 2 4th and 5s, 1 for 37 yards that set up a field goal, 1 for 28 yards that went directly into the end zone. You can't do that. You can't do that against Charlotte. If you do it against Charlotte, all the ACC teams are going to do that as well. So this is an opportunity for them to make progress. Again, it's not so much the talent of the opposition, it's how the Tar Heels handle themselves. And that is one of the themes around the program right now. It's about their standard. We're competing against us. We have a standard that we have to measure to. It's a nameless, faceless opponent in many respects. That's the way they say they're approaching this week. That's how they can improve in a game against an FCS team because of the kinds of things that have been some issues, or with 2 guys filling in for an injured star, because Kamen Rucker is the best defensive player on this team. So Carolina fans, if you're at the game and it's 28-0, these are still things to keep an eye on. Continue to watch Connor, the specifics of Connor. Continue to watch Tyler Thompson and Jabron Harvey, and continue to watch how the DBs cover, what the leverage is. Do they give up a couple of big explosive plays even when it's 28-0? Shouldn't, because they say that they're not going to worry about the score. They're going to play the game as the game is. They're going to play it, march forward, not without regard, at least through the first half, with what the score is. Mac has told us in the past that he plays the first half, doesn't matter what the score is, regardless of what the score is. Sometimes you get in the second half, you might making some substitutions. That's assuming that Carolina builds a big lead. So keep an eye on these 3 things. Even if it gets out of hand, you can entertain yourself as football minds by watching these 3 aspects of the game, and you'll enjoy it. because I'm going to enjoy it, and we're going to report on it. And we're going to have several people in the press box, and Kevin Roy, our photographer, who has cancer and had his first chemotherapy session on Wednesday afternoon, and he's still going to go shoot because he is a damn warrior, man. And so, Kevin, more power to you. If you guys happen to see Kevin out there, say hello to him, send him a prayer, give him a well wish, and hopefully him doing what he's doing with us will continue to give him strength and just a diversion from thinking about what's going on with him. So all that's going on this weekend. We're looking forward to it. Hope to see you guys there. If you see Chelsea Sipple, if you see Brian Bauckham, if you see Kevin Roy, if you see Jacob Turner in the stands, say, hey, man, what's up? Jacob loves that. Anyway, I'm AJ. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you after the game with 3 things.